Shalom, one itself, is always by giving no praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kwakadash. Double honors to the apostles of great millstone, and honors to you brothers doing the work of the most on truth and in sincerity. Yahweh's real name, with whom the world ignorantly calls God Jehovah. Yahweh, his real name is Yahweh. Son's true name is Yahweh Shine. When we pray Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, meaning in, meaning Dan Shum, meaning names Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai. Real quick, this is because Spirit, I'd been wanting to kind of touch on this for a what do you call it, like since last week, and then I caught the Elder Iathon's video where basically says this is what ChatGPT says regarding GMS and RUIC, because basically the topic of the video that I kind of wanted to touch on was this idea of to the pure, things are pure, right? Things are good to the godly, right? But those same things can be used in wickedness. Take the internet for example, which is been vital for the pushing of this truth, right? So this is Psalms 19, as an example, right? So the heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge, right? Because you've got basically these these channels, and you can watch these channels at any time from all over the world, right? No longer have you got to be in, for example, New York, on a Saturday at a set time, right? Now you can be all over the world, right? Watching, the live stream, watching the videos that are stored, right? Because back in the day, you may have had to wait, for the VHS or for the DVD to arrive to watch and be edified, right? Where nowadays it's just all backed up, for people to learn, okay, from all over the world, right? So being able to just watch these videos and these shows wherever, right? So there is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard, which once again that kind of touches into some of the things that we're going to be touching into with all of this AI tooling and stuff like that, right? And how you can, and this is the thing, because it's a lot of this stuff already existed, and this is the thing, right? So when you talk about Google's "did you mean," for example, right? So you type something in and then you get it slightly misspell it, and then it gives you "did you mean," right? That was a similar concept to what we see nowadays. It's just a lot more things are now being called AI, whereas before they would have been called ML, which is machine learning, which I believe, I forget the and in fact we can jump straight to that, right? Because like one of the things that's these tools can be very useful, right? So one of the ones I have, this is just like my camp channel one that I'm on, but like my personal one, right? I have a explain to me like I'm five, right? And then in here I'll just be like, what question can I ask, right? So as an example, what is the difference between ML and AI, right? It says, all right, imagine you have a toy robot. Artificial intelligence is like the brain of your robot that helps to do smart things like following you around or talking to you. It's giving the robot some thinking power so it can act like decisions, right? Machine learning is a special way to teach that robot how to get better over time. So if you want to blah blah, so AI is the big idea of so that's what I was trying to find out. I believe AI is the umbrella. So this is the big idea of making machines smart, and ML, machine learning, is one way of teaching them how to get even better, right? And in different ways, because especially nowadays with a lot of the information that's online, right? Where some people just want to hide information. It's really good to just have an explain to me like I'm five, right? And then it just kind of gets a little bit more to the point. Sometimes the examples ain't that good, right? Especially if it doesn't know, right? Which allows me to touch on something that the elder spoke of in here, but I'll get back to that once I finish this preset, right? So Psalms 19:3, there's no speech nor language where their voice is not heard, right? So one of the tools that has been around is transcription, right? It's just now we're calling it, oh, this is AI. So no, it's kind of been, not kind of, it's been there for a very long time. It's just tools like ChatGPT make it more and more accessible to the common man, So for instance, when I do say my Korean videos, I will just use which I'll write a little bit of software and then I'll just say transcribe this audio, because I don't believe you can do that from the UI, at least right now, from just from the web page. I don't believe you can do that right now. But like I'll just put it through, and then it'll generate it, and then I'll just be able to create the subtitles that way. Right, mind you, that's it hearing me in not speaking that language properly with the right accents, and it's still able to do it, right? But that's why the scripture says this, right? It says Ezekiel 28:3, right? It says, behold, thou art wise than Daniel, there is no secret that they can hide from thee, right? So it's wisdom, right, that has enabled this man to do this, right? So it's interesting, man. You see some of the things and use cases that I've used it for personally in certain of my little projects or whatever, what have you. And the way that it's able to distinguish certain things, it giving the illusion of sentience, almost, but ultimately all it is just would you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Ultimately it's just like probabilities, right? That's it, which is why you get different results depending on when you make a request, right? And which is why it's important for the system to have lots and lots and lots of data, right? So when the elder in this video is using the word dossier, right, it's that there is hella truth to that, right? Because for it to be able to give you an answer, it has to know a lot about. It has to have data to basically would you call it, to work off of. Okay, so it's reading this website, or it's using the data that it knows about certain topics or whatever, what have you, right? Which is one of the reasons why they want people using these tools, right? Something that different elders have mentioned, over periods of time, right? About this is one of the key reasons why these tools are being made mainstreams, because we are actively training these tools. We're actively making them better, right? Microsoft and co aren't going to be spending billions, and we're talking literal billions, of pounds, of dollars rather, right? To basically make these tools, right? So let's go in here real quick, and then let's say let's just find out. So how much has how much has Microsoft and Chat GPT spent on building Chat GPT? Give only the answer and be concise. One of the things about these tools is it allows you to see just how what's the word I'm looking for. It allows you to see just how good your communication skills are, because it a lot of the times it's that there's an age old thing about computers and software of a computer is going to do exactly what you tell it to do. So when you're getting dodgy answers, it's because it's not there yet. As we speak to to humans, because ultimately this is just machinery, it's just code, right? When we speak to each other, like, we're able to infer, right? We're able to we don't need to be absolutely precise for the other person to know what it is that we're talking about. But for instance, for this, for these tools, they need a certain level of conciseness, right? But as you see here, Microsoft and OpenAI have spent over $2 billion building and developing ChatGPT, right? So what about Google's? In fact, what? How much have other competitors spent? Yep, so competitors like Google with Bard and Anthropic with Claude have reportedly spent over $1 billion each on their AI development efforts. Right, so $4 billion with just these four companies, and this is what they're gonna report. Right, this is we're not considering certain of the applications, say, that the military will have. So they're not spending all of this all of this money, right, just for the sake of being kind and for bettering humanity. No, we're talking about the devil, right now. So preset I'm thinking of, right, in fact, because even this, right, this tool here, right, we're basically using OpenAI under the hood, right, to basically perform this search. Right now, you can make this more accurate, which Lord's why I'm going to do that at some point. To basically give even more accurate quote unquote did you means, because like I was looking for a preset earlier on, and I said like to the pure all things are pure, but it was unto the pure all things are pure, right, which it didn't get right. But laws all should be able to work on something like that. But this is 2 Corinthians 2:11 says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, right? Because we know the ultimate plan, we know the ultimate end goal for this man, and that is to basically make himself into a god, right? And in fact, because we're in Ezekiel 28, I'm going to start out from the top, right? It says, the word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, the modern day prince of Tyrus, right, is Esau, so called white man, right? It says, thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. Right, so basically in his pride, right, he's basically thinking that he is as the most high, right? But that is just not the case. Again, I believe got a precept here as well. Yeah, 2 Thessalonians 2:4 says, "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." Right, and we are very much of the understanding that these AI tools are a major part of that. Okay, we know that they're a major part of that, right? So I believe one of the elders used the term, he's being part of like Esau's angels, if you will. Okay, right? Because what's one of the attributes of the Most High, right? Being omniscient, all seeing knowledge, so all knowing. Right, and these tools are, Esau thinks it's going to make him all knowing. Right, it's going to be, crunching the algorithms, etc., etc., etc. Like for instance, when you um, I've got to caveat this with saying this is how I believe it works. I'm not entirely sure, but I believe like when you are when you're contactless over here, we're very contactless in London, right? And then every now and then it will just ask you like, whoa, can you just enter your pin? Or if you're paying online, similarly there, which I'm more sure about if you're using a service like Stripe, if a website is using a service like Stripe under the hood, and then it gives you that pop up of like, hey, can you just verify that you're there. What we refer to as 3D secure. You press the thing on your phone, or you enter in a code, right? That is AI. That's gone. Oh, this payment doesn't look normal, right? For how you spend, or for views of this website or whatever, this payment looks unusual. Okay, so all of those tools and all of those different applications are actively there, and basically E is gonna want to expand that into the common, into the everyday, right? You got I forgot and this is another thing you can do, man. Um, real quick, and I was just saying is certain of these things they're useful, but it's just understanding that we're dealing with the devil here, right? So what film referenced pre-crime? That's it, right? The 2002 science fiction film Minority Report. Because to be fair, ChatGPT works like how I thought the internet worked when I was little anyway, right? You can, certain times you just kind of want to know that key bit of information, right? Remember Ask Jeeves and all of that, just that key bit of information that you're looking for, but you don't really, fully remember. Like at the camp, the elder was saying, it was based saying which unrelated, so which person, and if Bob, especially Bob's in like tech or something like that, it is good to make use and learn how to, and then really everyone learn how to use these tools properly, right? Because in fact, I keep quoting. Let me just grab it real quick. This is referring, up top to water, fire, iron, salt, flour, and everything. But they use it in this instance also. But it says Sirach 39:27. All these things are for good to the godly, so to the sinners they are turned to evil. Right? Because once again, there are things in this world where it's like they're not inherently wicked, but they're used in wicked applications. Okay, once again, the internet as an example, right? It's not inherently wicked, but the majority of the internet is filled with folly, right? And Esau's used the internet as a weapon, right, primarily against the tribe because he has an issue with the tribes. Okay, um, so which famous person um, in history died and had no one come to their funeral, right? I forget exactly how I asked it before. Um, so this time is, yeah, it's given me the wrong one, but it's you. And this is another thing as well that I wanted to touch on with this, right? Is and I speak as a man, when I say this, but I see these tools being used. In 1984, you've got the idea of the new truth, right? Because if you don't know these the truth of a particular bit of information, these things will lead you down a rabbit hole, right? But when like people start taking these things seriously, right, and then they start giving off different names, right, mentioning people who it's not actually that aren't actually relevant, right? The term is hallucination, right? AI will hallucinate. That's the terminology, right? But I'm kind of seeing that they'll start using that to underhandedly start rewriting what the true history is, right? Like I say that as a man, right? But like I say, I've seen it, just effectively make stuff up, right? Completely make stuff up, right? Which once again you can see how it can happen, right? Right. See if it gives me the right one. Nope. So yeah, no, it's got this completely wrong, right? And then that's just the thing, right? You got to be careful with these tools, right? Because at the end of the day, it's still just bloody robots, right? So done with that. Done with that as an example. One of the things as well I've got to say I've used it for has been times when building a lesson, right? But maybe like I remember the time I was just through, like I was through and I couldn't think, right? And I was basically like I needed some more precepts, right? And in that particular what do you call it, in that particular topic, forget which one it was off the top of my head. It gave me a whole bunch of what do you call it, a whole bunch of good precepts, right, to the lesson that I was trying to build at that time, right? So I tried to, for example purposes, I was like, yo, like can I find something similar to this precept that I read right at the beginning in Sirach. Right now, it basically got the sentiment of the precepts, for what I was looking for specifically, right? It didn't get I didn't understand what I was trying to ask it for. However, the idea of what did it say? If it wants to, let me do rename. No, it's not even going to tell me what it's done. But it says scriptures on righteousness versus wickedness. I'm going to assume it says, right? So then, effectively, it's just gone and for Psalms 1:6, for the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. Right, Proverbs 10:6, blessings are on the head of the righteous, but violence covers the mouth of the wicked. Right, this is John, just any random precept here. 1 Peter 3:12, for the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are on their prayer, right? But the face of the Lord Yahweh is against those who do evil, right? So like just mute this. Yeah, I wasn't muting properly, right? Proverbs 3:33, the curse of the Lord is on the house of the wicked, right? But he blesses the home of the just, right? So you can see, especially like, you're trying to put together, build a lesson, and, maybe if the precepts ain't coming, how you can use these tools, right, for, for your benefit. And obviously, because we know these precepts, right? We're kind of using it like you get those websites, man, where it will show you like different presets or whatever, what have you. So it's just ways of using it for that as well, right? And then as well, me, I'm into the languages, so I've been using it as a great tool to to help with the languages. In this particular instance, as an example, what does this suffix mean in the word itdamyon, right? And then it basically breaks it down. So once again, just showing that kind of like what you're what you're into, right? Whether it's languages, whether it's cars, whether it's software, especially like you can do like text extraction from images and stuff like that, right? You know, these things have their purposes, okay. I was wondering, yeah, and then but the last one that I wanted, but there's no history on here. But the last thing I kind of wanted to touch on once again is the fact that ultimately, we understand how spirit. Because I was actually going to just use this tab to get another preset, but once again, 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, so once again, in this Salakia, in this example, right? So we say, yeah, so yeah, we're not ignorant of his devices. Okay, we understand, uh, we understand. What's precept? I'm not looking for. It's not the one I'm looking for. But no, it is. Yeah, yeah. We understand that ultimately he is building these tools for his own purpose, right? It says Mark 2:1 says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand," right? And that's it, right? He has all of these different things, right? But ultimately, it's evil, and he's working that evil. I'm trying to see which precepts of this I'm looking for. Yeah, Proverbs 4:16, for they sleep not, except that they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall, right? Psalms 36:4, he deviseth mischief upon his bed, right? In fact, let's look into this word devise, right? To think, so this is chashab, right? H2803, right? It says to think, plan, esteem, calculate, invent, make judgment. So this is part of his plan, right? Part, of his larger enterprise, right? Are these AI tools, right? And what do you call it? I don't have a history on, but we know it, that doesn't actually matter, right? That once again, this isn't an account that I use, but recently ChatGPT implemented this thing called memory, right? And someone basically that I know sent me a share of what it told him. Now, if you paste this in, if I remember, put it in the description box. But if you paste this statement in, right, on a new chat, and you do have memory on, you'll see what I mean, right, when I say these things are basically creating digital avatars of you. It's the same way Google has a digital avatar of you, right? Same way YouTube, well, it's the same company anyway, right? But effectively, what you're having is, these companies have exact digital avatars, right, of who people are, right, that use their services. Right now, I'm expecting it to return nothing because I don't use ChatGPT on this account, right? Yeah, so I don't have memory. Yeah, so exactly, so doesn't know anything, right? But if you are someone that does have memory, man, right? 'Cause, switched on, just paste this in and see what it says to you, right? So like I said, a bit all over the place, but the general sentiment is, to the pure, these things, to the godly, you can use these things for good, okay. Whereas like for, we know and we understand Esau's using these things for evil, right? And his larger plan is for evil, right? But we can use these things, we can use these tools to our benefit whilst we are here, okay. So yeah, once again, it's an edifying video, this one. So yeah, Lord's will, that was edifying this video as well. Yeah, until next time we say shalom.